The fourth part in the series of A Voice from the Past, words of inspiration from my Rebbe, from my teacher, Reb Chaim Shmulevitz, during the Yom Kippur War in 1973. I have mentioned three strategies that Reb Chaim taught the people at the time of the Yom Kippur War to occupy themselves with, to focus on, to do their part in trying to protect the future of the Jewish people. There is, in fact, a fourth strategy that he mentioned, and that is the importance of fearlessness. Of in a time like this, not to succumb to fear and to the terror that our enemies are trying to instill in us. Shezeh ikar sakanat hamilchama, Reb Chaim said, this is the foundation of the danger of war, and that we are instructed in the Torah not to be afraid of that. As the Gemara says, Tchilat nefilah nisa, the beginning of downfall is when you flee, is when you run away, when you turn your back on the enemy and run for your lives out of a position of fear. And he brings various examples in Tanakh where individuals were criticized. Even Yaakov, when he faced his brother Esav, and Esav had this massive army of people intent on destroying this small little family of Yaakov, and still Yaakov is criticized for feeling fear. But then he says, Reb Chaim says something really important for each of us to work on, to reflect on and meditate on, and to achieve greatness in. Ach t'nai lema she'eino yareh. There is a condition to fearlessness. The prophet Hosea says in the 14th chapter, Ashur lo yoshienu. You need to be confident in the knowledge that Ashur, the great nation of Ashur, is not who is going to save us. And he says, in parenthesis, that means the United States. Never think that our salvation depends on the largesse of the United States or any other country. Al sus lo nirkav, says Hosea. Don't think that you're going to win by riding on the grandest of horses. And he says that means fighter jets and tanks. Yes, of course, we need the United States. Yes, of course, we need fighter jets and tanks. But they aren't the source of your fearlessness. Because there are people who've had American support who have lost. There are people who've had fighter jets and tanks and have lost. And therefore, while we need these tools of warfare, they aren't the source of our security. And we should no longer say, this is our God, to things that we have created. And says Reb Chaim Shmulevitz, this is the army that we have built, the army that the nation of Israel has built, this an amazing machine, this amazing group of such dedicated people willing to give their lives for the Jewish people. Tzahal, what an organization. Tzahal, what a group of heroes. And yet they are not the source of our security. And perhaps we should have learned that on October the 7th, that they too can make mistakes, that they too can be caught off their guard. They also need siyata dishmaya. They need help from Hashem. They need miracles. They need divine support in order to be successful. And so, yes, we need, and we have the support of the United States. We need fighter jets and tanks and ammunition. And thank God we've got that. And yes, we need everything that we can find. And we need, of course, we need Tzahal. We need this unbelievable army, the army of Israel. But our source of bitachon, our source of security, of being sure, of being fearless, doesn't come from that. Because ein lo shum mishenet, rak Hashem levado Yatzilenu. There is nothing to lean on. There is no real support that you can assume. With this, I feel safe. True safety comes from leaning on the blessing and protection of our God, of Hashem in Shamayim.